Hello and welcome to Business Connections Live. I'm Steve Hyland and it's great to have your company, and we are live as always on a Monday at lunchtime. Unfortunately, our guest though, Charlie Mullins, can't make it today. He is going to be with us next Monday on the programme. So what we've decided to do is to rerun one of our previous programmes. It comes from last year where we were looking at Facebook for business. Mark Hughes was my guest on the programme, and you've really got to look at Facebook now as a serious proposition, because not only is it somewhere where you can communicate with your customers, but you can also put video up there as well. It's becoming a real marketing machine. Now, if you have a small to medium scale enterprise, if you are an SME and you're thinking, do I need to be using Facebook for business? Well, then the answer is an absolute definite yes. It's a great way of growing lists. It's a great way of communicating with your audience as well. So we thought, as I said, we would reintroduce you to the power of Facebook right here on Business Connections Live. So enjoy the next hour, and don't forget Charlie Mullins on the programme next Monday live. But enjoy this hour where we look at Facebook for business with Mark Hughes.
Business Connections Live, the UK's leading online business channel. This is Business Connections Live with Steve Hyland.
Good guest, actually. Mark Hughes is the gentleman's name. He's from FunkySocialMedia.com. If you've been thinking to yourself, look, how am I going to integrate my Facebook into my business? How am I going to make Facebook work for my business? And you've been thinking to yourself, well, do you know what? I don't really know how to go about it. I don't know where to start. Is Facebook the right thing actually to be using to be promoting my business? I think categorically the answer is going to be yes. It's just one of those tools that's out there that you should be using when it comes to social media to promote your business and to make certain that you are successful. Let's say hello to the guy, Mark Hughes. Mark, lovely to have you with us today.
Hi, thanks Steve. Thanks for having me on.
So, just tell us a little bit about your business and a little bit about you so that we get the real ins and outs of your background.
Okay, so obviously introduced me, Mark Hughes, slightly foreign accent, originally from South Africa. Been in the UK for 15 years, beautiful little boy and girl, and live in Epsom in Surrey, so loving the UK and certainly classified as home these days. And I've had a stream of different jobs, from being employed in the corporate world right through to really the last 14 years being in self-employment in an entrepreneurial way of some sort through the last 14 years. I had a commercial cleaning business for almost 9 years, which I then sold. In fact, it was my exit strategy to get into the online stuff. Did a lot of practicing of all the online different principles like search engine optimization on my cleaning website, etc., etc. Just got the bug and just thought I absolutely just love the whole concept of online marketing in general.
Well, reading about your profile, what it seemed to me was that you were starting to use social media,
yeah, and
it just wasn't working for you initially. And so what you went to do is to find out why it wasn't working and what the right techniques were to make it work.
Well, I think this was it. As I could see that social media at that time was still very much the new kid on the block, and I could see that there was definitely something about it. But being of the slightly older generation, I kind of still thought that social media was more for the kids, you know, the teens and the early 20s kind of baby boomer crowd. And I just thought,
that'll be me then.
Do I really get this?
Yeah.
You know, do I really get this? Do I, you know, is lots of people taking pictures of their meal in a restaurant.
Well, I think that's the biggest problem with it, isn't it? That people don't really understand the power of social media in business. When we think of Facebook, we do think of I've just had a coffee. I've now gone shopping. I'm going out with the boyfriend or the girlfriend. I mean, it's all those kind. It is actually life. People are, and I sometimes wonder to myself, I've got enough trouble getting through my own life without living through somebody else's as well.
Yeah.
But what are the biggest mistakes then when it comes to social media and Facebook in particular that businesses make when they come to using it?
Well, I'll tell you, one of the ones that I see quite often is where people start promoting their business off their personal Facebook page. Now, obviously, there is a distinction. You have a personal Facebook page, and then you have the ability to have what they call a business fan page. So the distinction is very vast in what you can do in terms of marketing off your personal page. Yes, you might have friends. Yes, you might have a friend-driven kind of business. But at the end of the day, you don't have what they call app pages. You don't have the ability to drive traffic to a particular app page. So say for instance, that's a lead generation page where you can grab a name and email and get people onto your potential prospects onto your database. You can't do that off a personal page. And there's a whole lot of other setup variables. So you can't put telephone numbers in there. You can't put distinctive multiple websites on there. So your personal page is really about your personal information. You know, it's who you're married to, who your partner is, who your kids are, who your family is. Those things are really not of any interest to your potential customers. So it's how you position yourself and your branding and everything else. It's a lot more synonymous to the business fan page than to a personal
The biggest
page.
problem that I see sometimes is that when you do go into social media and you start setting up your profiles, we've seen it on YouTube as well, is that what you find is that everything seems to be interconnected and interwoven. It's very difficult to separate the two.
Yes and no. I think what you bring up is the crucial fundamentals of doing it correctly from the word go. So you mentioned the word setup. Setup is very simple. It just seems like a series of steps, but however, there are little embedded settings, the privacy settings, the little extra things that you can do in integration, like you mentioned. So you can sync up your Facebook page with your Twitter page and vice versa. You can add these little icons that are clickable on your website so that you're driving people all the way around, from YouTube back to Facebook, back to Twitter, back to your website, etc., etc. And the idea really is to make sure that you get the setup correct in the beginning.
Well, I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll go through the setup in just a few moments' time.
Yep.
We'll have a look at that. We'll find out exactly what you should be doing when it comes to setting up your Facebook page, or maybe setting up your social networking in general. That's all to come in just a few moments' time. But before that, let's have a bit of a recap on what we did last week. You might remember we were talking about business continuity and disaster recovery. Fantastic guests we had in last week. A fascinating programme, proved to be very popular as well on the channel as well, for that matter. If you just want a quick recap, if you didn't see last week's programmes, here's what's happened on last week's edition of Business Connections Live. Now, this week I'm joined by Mike Osborne, Managing Director of Phoenix Business Continuity Unit, an acknowledged leader and award-winning continuity and business continuity disaster recovery service.
Phoenix IT Group is a UK-based specialist provider. We provide infrastructure support, break-fix maintenance, application support, help desk services for business. And a big part of what we do involves around supporting IT infrastructure. And of course, as businesses developed over the last decade, email, applications that give 24/7 availability of data on any device, being able to keep those businesses up and running has been a growing part of the Phoenix business. When you look at a lot of the things that have happened, the recent floods, if you go back a decade, some of the terrorist incidents that are fortunately beyond us in recent years, there's a whole profession that has kept business in London, particularly the big financial institutions, up and running through all those crises. The reality is one of the biggest drivers right now to people looking at business continuity is satisfying customer concern. Because if you think about it, what your major clients would be interested in is if they're putting business your way and then they're embedding whatever you do into what they do,
right,
and they've got this big brand and reputation and large customer base to satisfy, if you fail, they fail. When you explain that there are business benefits to this, that you can grow an organisation on the back of having this, rather than it being yet another cost of doing business, they very quickly get it. When you then move on to the fact that it's not as expensive they thought in the first place, you've broken down another hurdle. And in terms of the top 10 threats to business, they say unplanned IT and telecom outages is number 1.
Right.
Cyber attack is number 2, and data breach is number 3. Well, when I think of disasters, I'd have said fire, flood, terrorism. I don't think I'd have said IT, cyber attack and data breach. So that just shows you how far technology has moved on in the potential threat to business. But you mentioned 9/11, of course, that was America's big terrorist incident, and one that really shook the foundations of business continuity and disaster recovery across the globe. The smaller you get, the bigger the actual impact of having a disaster, because you're not resilient. You haven't got a second office. So for the really small firms, it is a topic that they need to look at, but it's really quite simple. If you've got customer names, customer contact details, make sure you've got those outside of a single office. Make sure you've got a copy of them somewhere. If you've got a single telephone line coming in, work with your comms provider to see how quickly it can be diverted, even to a mobile number, if your telephone line goes down. So there's 2 tips there, that actually the most important things that small businesses need is to be contactable by a customer, or to be able to contact a customer. Mike Osborne, Managing Director of Phoenix's Business Continuity Division. Phoenix is a specialist business continuity. We're 25-year-old this year in terms of delivering disaster recovery and business continuity. We're UK-wide, and we're nice people who know what we're talking about. We've talked about a lot on this session. We've created a website for SMEs, which is www.phoenix.co.uk/SME, and on there you'll find a lot of the reference material that I've referred to, a lot of general advice and white papers, and it's all there to review in your own time.
It's Mike Osborne there, fascinating guy, and our thanks to Mike Osborne and of course Phoenix as well. That whole subject, we were just discussing it actually while that piece of video was running, and it's so important that you do have that business continuity. I mean, what's going to happen if you have a disaster today? Is your business out of business tomorrow? And we were just discussing about having lists, customer lists, because if you have a customer list, it means you can get your business up and running, you can get turnover coming in once again, and you can still maintain the lifestyle and the success that you've already got. If you don't have those contingencies in place, you've really got a problem. But how do you build that list? How do you get people to come to your website? How do you generate those customers? We've all done it. You phone up a company, you phone them up, they don't answer, so you phone up the competitors, and the competitors get the business. If that's happening to your business, then you could be in serious problem. And that's why using social media, you're watching this program, all these are tools to help you make absolutely certain that you're going to be a success. I mean, it is interesting because you were talking there about business continuity and about the building of lists. Is that where you see the benefit of social media?
Absolutely. I mean, it's all about, there has to be a continuation. So we might, you and I, we might meet at a networking event, and we get to speak for maybe 5-10 minutes, and that's pretty much it. How do we then go on to build a relationship? Well, that's where I advise clients and myself. I then tend to extend it back onto the social platform. So you had Steve Mills on, so LinkedIn is a very good way to establish contact. Likewise, so is Facebook. Maybe Twitter less so, because it's a bit more of a coffee blog situation, micro-blogging. But Facebook and LinkedIn, and certainly these other platforms, can be used to build incredible rapport and relationships with people in terms of engagement. So it's really a case of using the social media platforms to your best advantages, and that is to start building a list, is to start getting those names and emails. And this is where a lot of small business owners, they don't place a lot of value on the list, and building that list, and keep building. In other words, generating and creating a funnel. So it's setting your objectives. It's knowing who your target audience is. It's knowing at what level of sophistication that market is at, and building a funnel that is adaptable and relevant to who you're targeting.
Now, when you start hearing the word funnel, what you're thinking about there is all of a sudden you've got these internet marketeers that come to mind with their long-form sales pages and their squeeze pages and their funnels and everything like that. But is this something that the serious business should be considering anyway?
Absolutely. I do it day in and day out, not for myself, not just for myself, but for my clients as well. At the end of the day, you have to have that lead magnet. If that's in form of a squeeze page or a lead capture page, a free report, a free series of videos, so be it. You need to have something that's going to have some form of hook, or I prefer to know it or refer to it as a promise that you're going to over-deliver, not just in the early stages, but all the way through. So you're nurturing and you're using social media to nurture, build that know, like, trust factor, like we keep hearing at networking events, which is 100% true. And to keep pushing them from through stage, through the love factor and the nurturing factor, keep pushing them each step away down your funnel, depending on how deep or how narrow or how short that funnel is. You need to have at least a funnel. So I'm a firm pundit. I keep banging on about it to all my clients. Make sure you start building your database, because if, for instance, you do go out of business, it doesn't mean that you're necessarily out of business forever, because if you've got that database, you can pretty much start again tomorrow.
All right, then let's look at some proper strategy then, some takeaways that we can actually do right now. What would be the first place that we would go to if we were, I mean, we're here to talk about Facebook. It seems to me that we're talking about the integration across all social networks, but let's concentrate on Facebook today. Where do you start? What are the fundamentals that you should be considering if you're setting up your Facebook page for your business?
Okay. Well, we'll go to Facebook itself if we can, and we'll just do a quick little, if you go to, obviously first thing you need is you're going to need a business fan page.
Yes.
Now, what a lot of people get a little confused with is they say, is my business page connected to my personal page? It is only in setup. However, you can actually set up a business page without having it being attached to your personal page. The only downfall of that is if you see at the top, that you've got this little graph search facility or the search function. If you're not connected to your personal page, that won't be there, which is a big negative in my books, because we use
So really
search
what you're saying is then do connect the two together.
Connect it to your personal page. However, it's not connected in terms of if you post something to your business page that it's going to appear in your personal timeline. It doesn't work like that.
All right, then.
All right, so first of all, you're going to go to facebook.com/pages/create, and you'll be presented with, as it says, create a page. So you've got local business, and they give you a couple of categories: brand, product, if you're an artist or a public figure, entertainment, and obviously there's a causal community as well. If you're a local business, you would just literally click on that icon or that tab. You choose a category, so say for instance you're a bookstore, you put and just fill in these fields here, street address, all that kind of thing. You need to always agree to Facebook's terms and conditions, and then if you click get started, should we try one?
Go on, let's do it.
Right, I'm going to click on brand or product.
All right, then.
We're just going to say cars. And we call this A, B, C, D, E, F, G, cars. And we click on I agree.
I think I bought a car from them once.
Did it work?
it was all right. It got me from A to Z anyway.
Okay, so we've just been presented. You can see this is live, folks. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, F, cars. They are not liking that, because it's probably too hypothetical. Let's amalgamated. Let's try and give it a more posh name. Amalgamated cars. Get started, and let's see.
I don't think I can even spell that. Here we go.
Just waiting for the internet to catch up.
There we go.
Okay, so that's your very next. And when we come to setup, the idea is to have a 100% complete profile.
Right.
And I'm not going to go through all of this now, because it does take a few minutes. But what you will do is it's so easy. You're just prompted to go in, add your description, add a professional profile picture, and add, basically just add your website in there if you've got a website, and then just save the info. And after a while, you'll be presented with your business page. And if we might just go to mine for now. Actually,
Very old photograph there.
yeah. Actually, I'm just going to go to the business connections.
You're going to embarrass me now, aren't you?
No, not at all. It's not popping up in search, which...
It's all one word, isn't it? There it is.
There we go.
Yeah.
Which is why I said that search is so important, because search, if you don't link it to your personal page, you're not going to have that search function, which is not very good. Right, so we're on Business Connections, and what will happen is you'll be presented with your page. However, it'll be minus this, we call this a header cover.
Now, when we were putting this together, the header cover, is that important? Is it just aesthetic, or is it got importance to it?
Well, you have to think about it. It's the very first thing that somebody sees, potentially a customer, that will see when they come in. So, if you're not that intent on branding, exposure, dynamically representing your business, then don't have a cover. But my personal feeling is it's like a shop window.
I mean, just looking at it there as well. Dress it up. I mean, just looking at it there, I was thinking to myself, that needs a bit more text on it, saying what we do, perhaps telling when the program's live.
Absolutely, I think it would be nice to see a bit more text. Probably, it's so easy to change. It literally takes a few minutes. You would just go in. I mean, let's just go into mine quickly, and I can show you how quick it is to change that header cover. I mean, you can see where I hover over there, it says change cover.
Yep.
You click on that, and we just wait for the internet, and then it'll drop down, upload photo. You can go to your desktop, or I could remove it, or I could choose another one from my photos. So let's have a look here. Let's go back to this one.
Very good.
And you literally just click Save Changes, and that's I'm not going to save it now, so I quite like the other one. But you know what I mean? It's really nice to have. I mean, we could go to another one, just to give...
Hot Seat Hangout.
This is another little subsidiary
really?
of mine. It's oh, I wonder why it's not showing. It's still a work in progress, but...
oh, here it comes. It's loading up even as we speak.
Sorry, I'm not trying to get a plug in here for Hot Seat Hangout. I'm just trying to...
But congratulations for doing that anyway. I mean, if you're going to do it out loud, that's what I
wanted to try and get the Facebook page.
Hi, welcome to Hot Seat Hangout.
Oh, my goodness me.
Expert online business training for aspiring...
We're live, folks. Right. So you can see... You can really splash out in whatever you want to do in terms of a cover image. So you're always going to have a cover image, and obviously you're always going to have a logo, because it's your branding. At the end of the day, you're intent on spreading the name of your business, both in a verbal sense and in a graphic sense. And then you've got to make sure that you've got your little about section here, which is filled in. I would say that what you haven't got in here is your website.
Right.
And you can actually add your website. So if we go back to... Keep it on point now, and no more plugs now.
All right, then.
As you can see over here, I've added a clickable link to my website in the About section.
Right.
And that's done very simply. When you're the admin of the page, you've got admin up here. You click on Edit Page, Edit Settings. That'll bring you out to the back end. Click to Page Info. And short description is over there. We would just click on the little pencil icon or the edit, and it's stuck in there. Now, I just want to add one thing. It's important that you add the http:// in there.
Or it won't become a link.
Otherwise, it doesn't become a link. Exactly. Right. And then it would serve no purpose.
And that is a big mistake a lot of people make, even on when they're doing the likes of Twitter and things like that as well. And YouTube too.
Yeah. Its first mistake is they don't have the link there at all. Second, it's not clickable, so it's not hyperlinked, which is very frustrating for your potential prospect that wants to look at more of what you've got to offer. That could be a sales offer page.
Yes.
And if it's not clickable, they're not really going to go copy and paste that into a browser unless it's something hyper compelling. They're just going to be gone.
Now, if you're doing something like that, what's your recommendations to businesses that maybe put their short description together like that and they've actually got a hyperlink in that description that is clickable? Do you take them to your homepage or do you take them to what is termed a squeeze page?
There's a lot of, my personal feeling is I would take them to a squeeze page every time. I'm all about building that database. However, in some circumstances, I would also take them to a survey form, which is quite important because when you're making your funnel hyper-targeted and hyper-relevant, you kind of want to eliminate the people that are just taking a look.
Now, what we've got to do, we've got to do a little bit of clarity on this because there's maybe some expressions that we're using here that people haven't heard before.
Sure.
So let's first of all talk about squeeze page. What is a squeeze page?
Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to bring one up so that we can see.
And if you've come across any internet marketeers or anything like that, you've probably come across squeeze pages before. What they are, it's normally a one proposition page. It will say, put your details here to get this. And there won't be anything else on the page. It really is, it's a squeeze page. It's squeezing all the information down onto one single page. And that's a technique that is used a lot by internet marketeers to drive you and to build lists. So that's to a certain extent what a squeeze page is going to be, sometimes referred to as the beginning of the funnel. And if you can imagine that your funnel is shaped like this, you're putting a lot of people into the top of it, and one by one they work their way down the funnel till you get your key or your core audience, your core customers, maybe one or two, but they're the ones you really want coming out the bottom of the funnel. But we're going to have a look right now at a squeeze page, is that right?
Yeah, I just wanted to just quickly...
All right, then here we go. We're just looking at our Facebook page. We're just finding it there for the moment. Just while
Well, I could just
while you're getting that page up,
I
don't
can
forget next week on the programme we've got a fantastic show talking about squeeze pages. We've got probably one of the UK's most formidable motivational speakers joining us on the programme. He's the author of this book as well, Life Business Just Got Easier. Brad Burton joins us next week on the programme. He is the founder of 4 Networking, a fantastic guy. We'll be seeing a little bit about Brad in a few moments' time, just to remind you, but he's going to be on the show next week. Wanted to show you the book. We're going to give you the opportunity to get a copy or two of this next week. If you are a member of 4 Networking across the UK and you've got a question for Brad, I told the team about this today, that we may take some Skype calls in, we may take the odd telephone call in. Their heads hung in terror as I mentioned this to them. But if you want to talk to Brad next week live on the programme, then you can do that right here on Business Connections Live. The email address, of course, as always, is studio@businessconnectionslive.com. If you do want to contact us, we're also going to put this up on the 4 Networking website as well, in one of the forums there. So if you have a question, you can either write it there, you can let us know if you're interested, and maybe you can come on the programme next week and have a word with Brad Burton, the author of Life Business Just Got Easier. Fantastic book, actually, if you get an opportunity to read it. I mean, the guy is a very, very different kind of motivational speaker, and he'll be on the programme next week. We'll see a bit of Brad in just a few moments' time. Meanwhile, back at the squeeze page.
Yep, that's going to be a fantastic...
it's going to be a great show.
I'm looking forward to that one. I've
Yep.
met Brad on a number of occasions. He's not light on the entertainment.
Yes, he's very, very good. Yeah. So here we are. So what we're doing here, we're actually giving a single proposition, aren't we? Free download, How to Master Google+, valued at £27, complimentary gift for you to use at your leisure. And there it is sitting. It's a single proposition. And you go down the page. So it really is, this is typical internet marketing, and 10 tips to use and grow your business online, get instant access. And I take it the way you get instant access is by supplying your details.
Well, there's a couple of funky ways to do it. Now, in the traditional terms, you would have just a little lead capture box with putting your name and email in. This one I've actually got what's called a Connect Reveal, which basically it's a very clever piece of software that grabs your Facebook email address,
right,
right from the get-go. So I'm trying to make the process quick. You don't need to think about it. You just need to, as you say, click get instant access, and you've got access.
So if we go back to that page and have
Yeah.
a quick gander, and we'll see what happens when we actually click on it then. Can we just have a quick, there we go, so let's just
So
click.
I'm just clicking on that now, and what will happen is that will be, just take a little while to load up, and there's no messing about. There's the report.
And
What will happen now in the back end, the software that I'm using will grab the name and email from Facebook, and they will ping me an email to say, yeah, Mr. Smith's just grabbed your report. It's now on my database. So from there on out, I can now start nurturing and building a relationship with Mr. Smith, and obviously inevitably would lead taking him through that funnel, which is then either present my offer in a face-to-face situation, or if I've got an online training digital product, I could try and sell him that.
now we've got to be very careful here that we don't drift off too far,
Yep.
and we're clear on what we're saying. So we've clicked on that. It's
Yep.
pinged you the information. There are people out there I know that are already using the likes of autoresponders where
Yep.
they are collecting emails.
Yep.
Can that be integrated with somebody's autoresponder?
Absolutely, absolutely. I could even show you here that if you want to take back, this is the software. I mean, you can check it out for yourself. I don't have any affiliation to them. It's called 22social.com. And very simple. They give you drag and drop content, layout, styles. But up here, you've got the little social relations manager. If I click on that, it'll bring up, and you can see there it's got CRM.
All right.
And if I click on that,
I bet Aweber's in there.
Aweber is there because
Yeah.
I use
And that's what CRM stands for?
Aweber, yeah, customer
Customer Relations
relationship
Manager.
management. So Aweber, Infusionsoft, GVO, GetResponse, iContact, MailChimp, so all the major autoresponder providers.
Now, while we've got that menu up there, Infusionsoft and Aweber, we're familiar with Aweber, we're familiar with nearly all of them, in fact, and I think
Yep.
MailChimp is a derivative of Aweber. But,
Sure.
But looking there, Infusionsoft seems to be one of the premier products when it comes to web marketing.
Yeah.
Is that a tool that you use yourself?
I've not used Infusionsoft. I'm more a keep it simple kind of guy. I think Infusionsoft has its definite advantages, but it is a massive learning curve. And for an average small business owner, it's very expensive.
I think that's really good advice, because I know we had Steve Mills on who uses Infusionsoft a lot, and I was impressed. I actually contacted Infusionsoft myself a couple of weeks back, and what I realised was that they knew that I was contacting. They very quickly came back, very good customer response. It was just absolutely fascinating. I mean, it's a cracking piece of software, but as you say, for a small to medium scale business, I think it's quite expensive on a monthly basis.
Yeah, you know, it depends. I mean, it depends on how far you want to take your tracking, how integrated and how techy you want to make your business funnel. I think at the end of the day, for me, working with a smaller business owner, it's a challenge in itself just to get them to use an autoresponder. And then 9 times out of 10, you've got to overcome that hurdle as well. You know, Aweber, I think, cost you something like 15 quid a month, or Infusionsoft cost you 200 quid a month.
Yes.
Massive difference. Whereas I would kind of say, well, you don't have any leads yet in your autoresponder database, so let's get a few of them first, and then you can always migrate as you mature onto the bigger and better autoresponders out there.
And there are other autoresponders out there. Of course, we've had on the programme, we've had InTouch CRM. They've been with us as well. So there are a whole host out there. You'll find that Aweber comes in a number of different flavours. MailChimp is a different flavour for Aweber. If you're not familiar, actually, this could actually be a very good little short that we should do for you. Is looking completely at what autoresponders are all about, the power of the autoresponder when it comes to actually using your marketing, and that's maybe something that I'll ask our team to put together for us.
I think the advantage is why I say is go for something very bulk and basic to start off with, is to get them used to using it, because a small business owner is always saying, I never have time and I don't have money. So the idea is to try and add a little bit of automation with the autoresponder, but then to use the budget that you would be spending on more expensive programs and throw that into paid traffic.
I mean, I mean, a lot has already been said, and we've said nothing. It's one of those kind of shows today, isn't it? I'll tell you what we're going to do. Well, let's catch up what's been happening in the news over the past 7 days. We'll come back, and then what we'll do is we'll go through the top tips that you need to do very quickly on how you should be looking towards getting your Facebook page for business all set up. Already I'm thinking to myself, you're going to have to come back again. There's no two ways about it, because it's fascinating. So far what we've done, set your Facebook page up correctly, set it up properly, make certain it is set up 100%. Don't leave anything out. Go through each and every form. When you do actually set it up, when you put the short description in there, put a link back to your website. http:// make it a clickable link. That's going to be important for you to do as well. You must do that because you want to drive people back. You don't want them to have to copy a link, put it into their browser to get to your website. You want it to be quick. You want them to get to your site instantly. Decide as well what you want to do. Do you want to have a sales funnel? Do you want to drive them to a single decision? Do you want to collect names? As Mark's already said, the thing that's important here is that you're building a database of names. The most valuable commodity that you have in your business is going to be your list of existing and prospect customers. That's what's going to be valuable to your business. If everything else disappears around you and you've still got that, you've still got a business. So you're really trying to build that list, a valuable commodity for any business, and Facebook will allow you to help that. The tools that we've got as far as Facebook is concerned, well, you can do this integration between some form of CRM, Customer Relationship Manager. You can use the likes of Aweber. If you're not familiar with Aweber, we will put together a program. In fact, we'll get Aweber on the show so that we can have a chat with them, because what is so powerful about a autoresponder is it is marketing for your business in the background. You do the marketing once and then you repeat it time after time after time. The moment you capture that email address and that name, you can then mark it on an ongoing basis. But be warned, don't be sending offer after offer after offer. People do that on Twitter, they do it with autoresponders. Message after message after message is a sell. Send them information, tell them a bit about yourself. Create a relationship between you and your prospective customer. Then ask them, well, look, you're still receiving this, you haven't unsubscribed, you might be interested in getting this from us. Use it intelligently and wisely, and it can really reap benefits for you and your business. Still sending out conventional newsletters to customers?
Do you just want a more engaging way to talk to your customers and employees?
Hello, I'm Steve Hyland.
And I'm Linda Bazant of Business Connections Live.
Your Brand TV is a completely branded television show that can be streamed live or delivered on demand to your niche audience. Be the first in your market to capitalise on the online media gold rush that is using online video to effectively deliver news, information and education to key personnel and clients.
Video attracts 2 to 3 times as many monthly visitors. It doubles their time spent on your site and has a 150% increase in organic traffic from search engines. Large networking organisations are already utilising the power of Your Brand TV to market, promote and publicise to their members and groups across the UK.
Your programme will be branded with your corporate colours and logos in your own broadcast quality network studio.
You can choose the format. It can be news or magazine or interview in its look and feel.
You can have live guests on your show, or you can Skype them in.
You can stream the show live or on demand, so it's available for catch-up.
This is a chance to deliver your message in a new, exciting format that will allow your business to cut through the noise and stand out from the crowd and engage your workforce and customers. This is Your Brand TV.
To get more information on this fabulous opportunity to bring to life your corporate communications, contact us today at Business Connections Live, the UK's leading online business channel.
Okay, so we've looked at the correct setup of your Facebook for Business page. We've looked at the optimized profiles, some of the techniques you should use there, adding content to your timeline. Just very briefly summarise adding content to your timeline.
Okay, so going to your timeline, just so that everybody's quite clear what a timeline is. This is the left-hand column and starts incorporating a bit of the right-hand column. And we've referred to this as your timeline, your Facebook timeline. And really what it is it's about adding content that's relevant. So images are a massive thing. I mean, you can just see here, there's a massive real estate that Facebook are giving now with images. So images are becoming a lot more important. Images also have a 40% higher chance of being shared. Now, the idea, and what people don't understand when it comes to small business owners, is that you're trying to get already existing customers to share your stuff with their network. Mm-hmm. And that's the old idea of social media. It's getting people to share. So they think your information, your business information, the way you present it, what you have to say is important enough for them to share it with their network. And then you get a chance to extend your reach. And that's, we often refer to that as your digital footprint. And the idea is to get into the other people's networks. They come and check you out. And, if you've got your funnel set up correctly,
you'll capture their names and you'll build your list.
You keep feeding, you keep grabbing their name and address, an email address, you keep putting them into the next stage of your funnel, etc., etc. I mean, I wanted to just very quickly, if I could, just show you what I call a funnel.
Oh, so, wow.
Now,
so let's talk our way through
slightly off screen. Now, this is probably not, this is more a generic marketing funnel.
Right.
However, has certain Facebook adaptability. But you can see what's happening in the front there is sending traffic to that lead generation or squeeze page that we spoke about earlier on, and I showed you an example. What needs to happen then depends on what kind of business is you need to start grooming your customers to actually buy something. Because a free something is great, but a free something also tends to attract the freebie seekers.
Yes.
And what you're trying to do is you're actually trying to at least groom or show your prospects that, look, you are here to run a business and to make money, so you can come in with a particular offer, and that offer doesn't have to be in monetary terms. That could be a consultation. That could be a free event. The funnel doesn't have to necessarily mean monetary, but at the end of the day, that you get people to an event, there's a good chance that you're going to have something to sell or pitch at that event, and then you're going to work on your conversion from there.
And we do exactly the same on our website for what we are doing. We're inviting people to give us their name and their email so that we can tell them when new programs are coming. But the way we're encouraging that is with a booklet on how to use YouTube videos. And we'll probably change that. We'll probably put a LinkedIn one up there as well. So there's some proper, valuable business information. I like the idea, free seminar, something like that. It's a really good idea.
Yeah, I mean, it could be an introduction to you. It could be to say, right, if you might want to meet up face-to-face. In other words, go and fill in this form. We'll book a time. We'll get together, have a cup of coffee, a chat, But the idea is, first and foremost, you've got the name and email, and now you can start using your autoresponder message, email message sequences to start nurturing and slowly build up the trust factor to a point where you put that call to action in and say, hey, Mr. Bob, let's get together, or Mrs. Bog.
Mrs. Bob or Mr. Bob. All right then. So let's just very quickly go back to the sales funnel. Let's go through it quickly because we've only got about 15 minutes left.
Okay.
So just looking there.
So you can see, right, lead generation page then goes to your first offer. If they don't take up the offer, they're going to go into a prospect follow-up sequence, which will keep bringing them back to that initial offer.
Yep.
Now, if somebody does take up that offer, I'm going to go into another offer, and it just depends. It might stop there for most people, but you can keep going. And then I like to build in a bit of continuity which is recurring income model, you know, monthly memberships, things like that. And then you can see that I've got list C, which is my customer list, which is I then use to bring them down into one of my Hangouts, which would have probably a guest on with a premium offer, and we've worked out some kind of little percentage.
But this is now classic internet marketing, isn't it, that we're looking at now?
Well, you can see how many different lists we've got. I'm setting up 6 different lists,
Yeah.
all serving a different purpose. But what I'm not doing is if somebody buys here, they're going onto list 1, they're being sold on, but they don't get these messages or don't migrate onto the next list until they've actually bought. And once they become a customer, they don't get any other emails other than what comes from, you can't see it there, but
Now, I'm going
list
to
6.
be very cheeky because we've shown this now. Is it possible that we can put that as a download on our page, that particular... Would you mind?
Have you got lots of investors that are going to fund that? No, I'm just kidding, Steve. Yeah, absolutely. no,
All right. So
problem.
if you want to have a look at that, then you're going to be able to do that. All you've got to do is download it, and that'll be on the page, on the link on the page. If you want to go to the website where you'll be able to download it, you won't be able to download this on the YouTube channel. You'll be able to download it at www. How many W's were there? Maybe one too many. www.businessconnectionslive.com. If you go to the website and if you find this, it is Facebook for Business. If you find that particular program, and that's where you'll be able to download the information for you there. Right then, now we've got so much to get through.
Right.
So and so that I found absolutely fascinating. So let's then talk about apps pages.
Yeah.
Why do I want an apps page? What is an app page, and how's it going to help my business anyway?
Well, we were talking about Facebook, and let's keep it on. We
Yep.
try to keep it on subject here. Facebook, you have the ability to build a subsidiary, what's referred to as an app page. And what can you put on that app page? Well, you could put a squeeze page or a lead generation page. So now, on your timeline, you can then put a link to that app page, and you can start grabbing names and emails and build your prospect list from Facebook.
So is an app page like a sign-up page by a different name?
You can put a sign-up page, you could put a contest, you can host a contest on an app page, you can host your website on an app page, you can host a contact us page on an app page, and you can have all these as separate app pages. So if I take you here, for instance...
You've got an app page on your site there. Here we go.
Okay, so if you have a look here, these are the little thumbnail icons, and these are what they're called. Now you can see I've got 6. Now it only shows you the top 4, but if I click on that little drop down, you can see I've got a free video series, I've got...
My update sucks.
which is to do with content and how to post a timeline, and reviews, obviously customer reviews, so you can put testimonials, which are very important to
Indeed.
customers, social proof, as we refer to it, and then there's Pinterest on there, so you have so many different ways to put it on. Shall I show you how to put an app page?
Please, if you don't mind. Yeah, go on then.
Okay, so... very simple. There's lots of tools out there. There's lots of paid variations which give you obviously a lot more bells and whistles and functionality. But in terms of getting something done in the next couple of seconds, there's a whole myriad of free ones. But the ones I tend to use is if you go to Facebook search and you just put in static, HTML, it's the one that pops up first, static HTML, iframe, it used to be called iframe, we now call it an app page, and it's by Woobox, completely free. They do have obviously a premium version, but it says, right, install page tab. Then, now don't be scared, but I have quite a lot of pages. But let's go to, where shall we put it?
Oh my word!
Let's go to...
What's the pause report, by the way?
The pause report is a friend of mine loves dogs.
Right.
He's been a dog trainer and breeder his
as
whole
in
life.
pause?
Pause, 4 paws.
Ah, got ya. Okay,
The
but
pause
then,
report.
we're with
so
you.
anyway, so let's install it on Hot Seat Hangout.
Okie dokie.
So now it'll say, right, Hot Seat Hangout's been selected, add page tab. And very simply, it will present you with, okay, so what I've done is I've actually added one before. So I'm going to go back and do another one.
Okay.
But you can see there, I've embedded the whole website using that. So the whole homepage
So
is there.
is it-
how
is
clever
this
is that? I didn't
something-
even have to do anything.
Is this something then that you could put an app in your personal Facebook that would drive people to your business one?
No, that's where we come back to the limited functionality. You don't have the ability to do this
that.
on your personal.
Okay.
Which is why I recommend you don't really
You don't
get
do
into
that
the
at all.
marketing
Really,
side of things.
two should be separate.
Separate completely. Right, I'm back on this. I'm going to just try a different one. Let's go to my friends there. Forget the page, unrelated. I just want to demonstrate how easy it really is. So there you come out, right? So this is what you'll be presented with. And it will say here, page source. You put a URL, a redirect, we're not going to get into that, an image, or if you're an HTML coder, you can even add HTML. I'm going to show you how easy it is.
HTML, for those that don't know, is the markup or the programming language used in web pages. There we go.
I'm going to do it very quickly. I'm going to do the URL, which is a domain. I'm going to quickly grab a domain and go back there and literally just copy and paste that into there. I'm going to hide the scroll bars and then I'm just going to go down, click Save Settings. It pulls the feed straight from the website or from that link.
Now, is that free?
That's absolutely 100% free.
So that's all sitting there. So a lot of people
Just
don't really
waiting for the
utilise
internet to catch
Facebook
up.
to its probably a little slightly slow internet, I would imagine.
Okay, it says it's been saved.
Yeah, that's good.
So let's go back to the page and see. Okay, so there it is there. So if you click on the little tab there that says welcome,
Takes a
should
moment.
be pulling that feed through. And there we go. That's your traditional squeeze page, which is enter your name and email. And this is obviously not relevant, but it's a LinkedIn report. Sorry, Steve Mills. But that's how easy it was. It literally took, a number of seconds.
Yeah.
And if you wanted to, you could even change this little image here by clicking a little down arrow and hover over it. You see a little pencil icon. Just click on that. Click Edit Settings. And I can change the name. I can say free report. And up top it says, I won't change the image now, but you can change the actual image that shows there as well. Shall I do?
Are you working when you're doing this? Are you? Is any of this actually relevant to things like SEO and finding your website and things like that? Do you have to take that into consideration with names and titles?
When the SEO, it comes in the actual setup. So when you're populating all the information on your profile, 100%. So all the information, your keywords can be built into your descriptions. So you'll see, obviously, the description is funky social media marketing services. So any derivative of that, social media marketing services, obviously is quite a sought after keyword term. Put that in, optimize that, spread that sporadically, not overdoing it throughout your profile. It all adds
So
to
normal
value.
SEO.
But also, obviously, engagement factor, and we're not even getting into that, but engagement factor and how active your Facebook page is also has a large bearing on how much it's found.
Well, we've talked apps page, we've got getting traffic and sales and conversion process. We must get through those, but before that... Now, my guest on today's show is Martin Hawley, founder of Board Circle, which helps small and medium-sized companies to experience a non-exec director by sharing some, it says here, of the director's time as a non-exec with each other.
A non-exec director is very similar in a lot of respects to an executive director. So when you become a non-exec, you have the same duties and responsibilities as an executive director. That is a statutory director in the business, so your name goes to Companies House. They're interested in what happens in the company from the point of view from decision making, compliance with regulations. Are they thinking strategically enough? So there's quite a lot going on, but maybe a little bit more hands-on in a smaller company. It's close to being a mentor, but the difference in a non-exec is that they're, if you like, they're mentoring the whole board. So if they have any mentoring or
tough job.
coaching. Yeah, so it's not just one-to-one, it's the whole board there. I think possibly one of the mistakes that people can make is somebody might go into a board and they don't understand the context of the business, or they go in and think that they have some sort of formal authority, which they don't necessarily have that. I mean, people might look good on paper, but we really want them to get the business. They understand, yes, I understand this business. I know they're not doing everything perfectly, but actually I'm not either. So I'm going to work with them and say, yeah, this stuff you're doing is great. Have you thought about doing this? One of the great influences in Board Circle was Luke Johnson. He wrote a piece about non-execs and boards probably 7 or 8 years ago, and we've got one of his quotes on our website, which is never recruit the grandee, always recruit the up-and-comer, the hungry up-and-comer. I think they have to be a good executive director, so they have to be good with people, they have to be knowledge about their particular subject, and they have to have that sense of strategy, and some sort of part of them has to be thinking about governance in their own company. And I think so that when they go into another company, they can look at that company through the lens of purely being a director. Many more people want to be non-execs than there are places for them. So there's quite a competitive market there. And what we're doing with Board Circle is we're really working the demand side. So we're trying to persuade companies of the value of taking on a non-exec. And we know that we can always fill a space then, either from another company in our pool, which is what we're really trying to do, but also looking outside of our pool as well. Hi, I'm Martin Hawley. I'm the founder of Board Circle. Board Circle helps small and medium-sized companies to share some of their director time as non-execs in other companies. This helps a company get a non-executive director that helps support their growing business. But it also serves the professional development needs of directors. The reason we do this is we think that non-execs can add great value to growing businesses, and there's a tremendous benefit from them. Having an independent voice on your board can really help in your decision making and will generally raise your game. Equally, it's brilliant experience for an executive director to become a non-executive, and the governance skills that they learn from another business, they can put back into their own business. So it's a win-win situation for both companies. So we believe that all companies really should be having non-exec directors, and that at some point in their career, all directors should experience being a non-executive director. It's not just about the better governance, I mean that's important in itself, but from better governance becomes better business performance, and that adds to the bottom line. So that's really the important thing. Where can you do this? Well, we're a national organisation, so we can help anywhere within the UK. We also believe, though, that your non-exec directors should be local, so that they can pop in from time to time. It's not just at formal board meetings that they might turn up. So you can have a close contact and a good, strong relationship with them. Now's a good time to be doing this. The economy is growing, there's lots of opportunity out there now. So it's a good time to position your business for that growth, and a non-exec director can help you shape your thinking and help you shape your company that's ready to exploit all of those opportunities. How to do this? Well, contact Board Circle. Our website is www.boardcircle.me, and you can register. It's free to register. Just get in touch with us. We can have a good conversation about how a non-exec can help your board. So that's Martin Hawley or Kath Amory to contact, and the website is www.boardcircle.me.
With me today, it's Mark Hughes from Funky Social Media, if you want to check out their website. Mark has been telling us all about what you should be doing when it comes to Facebook for business, how you can be using Facebook. A lot of people don't think that they can use Facebook for business. We've talked about the correct setup, the optimised profile, adding content to timeline. We were just discussing there, actually, what we will do is that we'll put together some very short individual videos on each of those, that's you committed now, on each of those particular topics. The app page as well, what you can do with that and how you can integrate that into your Facebook page. Getting traffic. A lot of people think that if you stick a Facebook page or if you even stick a website up there, that people are going to come watching. A lot of these little radio stations think that that will happen as well, don't they? They put a transmitter up, they start playing records, and then nobody listens, and they find that surprising. Yeah. How do you generate that traffic? How do you get people to visit your website or your Facebook page?
You know, there's such a loose term thrown around with the fact that, and even experts in you know, a lot of my kind of colleagues and peers, they will throw around the term loosely that social media is free. Facebook is free and all that kind of thing. And Facebook, the platform to use is free in certain respects. But what I try and get across to small business owners is when you're trying to generate traffic, it's certainly not free because it can be very time consuming. You know, you can build out and produce a whole lot of really funky, jazzy, highly engaging and interactive content. But if you've only got 5 or 6 or 10 or the average of maybe 50 to 100 fans, your engagement factor is not going to be very, very high. So what do? Well, you've got to go and interact with other Facebook page owners. You've got to, you know, build your database through your funnel off of social media, through your networking, invite people to keep coming. So it's a consistent and constant effort that needs to be adopted.
Do a lot of people start and then trail off, do you think, afterwards? Do you think they're full of enthusiasm at the beginning and then kind of lose interest a little bit?
Yeah, I think it's largely the case because it does take you know, a reasonable amount of time to keep producing the content. Now, there are different bits of software out there that you can curate content, and you can pre-schedule content, the likes of, you know, plugging the likes of Hootsuite, Sprout Social.
We use Hootsuite, yes.
Yeah, all these different ones. And there's a whole lot of different software out there that can make your life a lot easier. I just think that what happens is business owners kind of get a little bit bored, or because they are solopreneurs, they tend to maybe go off and they say, well, I'm placing more value on networking, or maybe even a bit of telecalling, you know, that kind of thing. So they might come to Facebook or social media when they think, okay, I've got a little bit of a lull, or I've got a little bit of extra time. Oh, I've forgotten to post to my Facebook page. So they'll start feverishly doing it, then it tapers off, and then they'll come back and then taper off. Rather than maybe spending an hour on a Friday afternoon and just pre-schedule all your content via Hootsuite, set those dates so that go off Monday, at least one post on your timeline per day. I don't think you need to get all crazy and do 5 or 10 a day. I think it's just overkill. But at least keep it consistently active so that it doesn't become a barren page.
Key tools then that you would use would be Hootsuite, you mentioned.
Hootsuite, it's fantastic. Sprout Social, there's Buffer.
Sprout Social. Is
Sprout
that like
Social, it has a dual functionality. It offers some tracking and some statistics, which obviously being the person I am, it's all about the stats. And buffer.com. Sprout Social also, you have scheduling capabilities.
I mean, as I said, we use Hootsuite ourselves. Yeah. Sprout Social and buffer.com, they're just some of the tools you can use. But I think the thing is, it's about consistency, isn't it? It's regularly going on, it's regularly updating your pages, putting new information there. Yeah. Well, when it comes to finding the information, I think that a lot of people, I mean, we're okay. Well, we're not okay, really, but I mean, what we're doing, we're producing a programme, by the way, just check all of those. The thing that's interesting about all of this is that we are producing content on a weekly basis with additions to that, where we do specials. For instance, the aviation debate, the big aviation debate, we actually did that a couple of weeks back, and that's a special that's on the channel, on our YouTube channel and on our website as well. So there's always going to be new content there too, and we've already been talking about doing an AWeber special as well, so that people understand autoresponders too. So, I mean, it is important to be looking for content to be sticking onto your site.
I tell every one of my clients, I said, it's often when you suddenly think about doing content that you can't come up with content. The idea is to generate and gather content over time in your natural time. So let me explain that a little bit quickly. Set up a little folder on your desktop, call it Swipe, Content Swipe. And when you're trawling through the internet, or you're going onto an article directory or onto an online magazine or newspaper site, and something strikes your fancy, or you think, wow, okay, that's relevant to maybe some of my customers or my prospects, or to me, that I can maybe generate a little bit of content out of that. What you do is copy and paste that into your swipe folder, and you think, okay, when I've got time to do my copy, I'll have a whole lot of resource so that I now don't have to start from point scratch. And I can just say, right, okay, that looks good, I'm going to write something on that. And then I say repurpose. Repurpose your content. What do I mean by that? You could write a blog article, which could be chunked down and made into a video. It could be broken down in that same article, broken down and made little tweets of, and broken down further down and made little Facebook timeline updates, status updates. So you can use the same content on your multiple platforms. So you're not having to do unique content for every single one of them. The language is slightly different. Yes, you're going to make it slightly different and unique, but that's just spinning a couple of words around. That's content.
Fantastic.
Start the swipe folder.
All right then, so that's content is important because that's what's going to generate the traffic, because people aren't going to go to a dormant site. They're going to be looking for something that's going to be new and different and interesting and informative. So that's...
And then there's obviously, we haven't talked about paid traffic, which is Facebook advertising. And that's literally, it's going on, creating an ad, working out who your demographic and target market is based on their interests, and then using the paid Facebook traffic platform to drive traffic to your Facebook page.
All right, so that's getting the traffic. Is there an example or anything to show?
Well, I do. I mean, this is what it looks like. Just this was actually a beauty salon. We ran a little promotion targeted at men, funnily enough. And you can see that we generated 652 clicks. And we actually ran these clicks to an offer on their website. 23 pence per click, which in the end it only cost a total of £148. So people are under this misconception, it's so expensive, I can lose my shirt. If done incorrectly, yes. But it takes a lot of variables and factors, and we can possibly have a revisit on setting up Facebook ads. Here's another one, just a little bit of fun. I've got this one running live. I'm quite fond of the comedy actor Adam Sandler, and I'm running this one live at the moment, and you can see at the moment I've got 344 extra fans. It's costing me about 6p per click, and I've only spent a total of, what, 25 quid. This is a really good one because it all has to do with what they call the click-through rate. And I've got a phenomenal click-through rate there, which is how you set up the ad. You've got to split test the ads against each other, find a control ad. And I don't want to overwhelm people here. But if at the end of the day, and I highly suggest, if you've got a small budget, doesn't have to be a massive budget. If you've got a small budget, get somebody who knows what they're doing to just set it up for you, to find the perfect performing ad, and the fans will come.
There we go, generating that traffic. Looks interesting, and you've got a number of different ways of doing it, either organically or the pay-per-click ones. Both alternatives are there, and as I said, we will be coming back on some of these in the future and putting some small videos together to give you a little bit more hints and tips on it. Let's look at the final area then, sales and conversion process. That's probably the most important bit to a lot of people. You've got to go through that journey, though, to get to that. So sales and conversion.
Yeah. Well, sales and conversion, very simply, it depends who you are, what you offer, whether you're a B2B, B2C. Your sales process in B2C might be on an e-commerce site. In B2B, your funnel and your prospecting right at the beginning your result or your objective might be to say, get that face-to-face meeting. I will just say that social media is not there to sell. It's there to engage, and I just have a very poignant saying. Your engagement starts on Facebook. Your customer purchase starts in your inbox or in their inbox. So that's the reason why I go on about building that database the whole time. Right from the word go. Get the fundamentals right, get the basics right, start building that prospect. First, and don't think social media alone is going to make you get that that fancy sunny island. You've got to do all your different marketing. It's both offline and online.
Do you know, it's been a fantastic... Well, how long are we running now? So about an hour and 7 minutes we've been running at the moment. It's been a fascinating insight into using Facebook for business. Just been fascinating talking about the whole area of social media when it comes to using it within business. I think it's an area that a lot of businesses ignore, they don't understand, and I think it's been a terrific introduction to it. Funky social media, our guest this evening, Mark Hughes is the gentleman I've been talking to today. Mark, we invite all our guests to just give us a 3-minute sum up, or as long as it takes, straight down one camera lens. It could be here for quite some time. Just give us a bit of a sum up, really, on what we've talked about in the last 60 minutes or so, and just so you know, really, it's that final. We call it our perfect pitch. So straight down number 3 is your camera just sitting over there.
Okay.
And really the key things we need to remember, but don't forget at the beginning to say who you are and where you're from. Mark Hughes, it's over to you.
Okay, so I'm Mark Hughes from FunkySocialMedia.com, social media consultant, and essentially I help small and medium business owners like yourself generate more leads and eventually sales through the use of your social media platforms. And tonight we've obviously spoken about Facebook in particular. Very importantly, don't think social media is the be-all and end-all. It needs to be incorporated into your overall marketing strategy. It needs to be used intelligently. It needs to be done correctly, setting the foundations correctly first. Start building that lead list, that database first and foremost, because it's really important. It's the thing that will get you to get more of a back end. In other words, if everything else falls short, you've still got your list, you can pick up your business later. And most of all, don't feel intimidated. Give it a go. I urge you to give it a go. It might be frustrating at times, it might be time consuming, but if you stick to it, there are rewards as well. Thank you.
Mark, fantastic, and thank you very much indeed for watching. We hope you found that interesting. Don't forget, if you've got any comments at all, please do contact us at www.businessconnectionslive.com, studio@businessconnectionslive.com, of course, the email address. And we hope you enjoyed that programme. A great look at Facebook for Business with Mark Hughes. We'll be back again next week with Charlie Mullins, OBE from Pimlico Plumbers, live on the programme here next Monday at midday. Till then, have yourself a great week and look after yourself. And don't forget, be successful.
Business Connections Live, the UK's leading online business channel.